We're now on part 14 of the Telecaster student build. Last episode, I kind of showed you how we glued on this fabric top, and over the week, actually in my class, I demonstrated the binding. Since we did the binding on the other one on the video series, I did the other one in class for a live demonstration. Now, at this point, I thought I was going to be ready to kind of do the final sanding on the neck and begin the dyeing process, a little vintage amber on the neck. But I have the Strat that I'm working on in class, and this is the Swamp Ash Strat. And I meant last class to go through the dyeing process on this, and I ran out of time. So I think what I'm going to do is just do the dyeing process on this on video, which while I'm at it, I might as well demonstrate the Telecaster dyeing process, because we're going to dye the back of this particular guitar, and I'll be able to do both of those at the same time in the same video. So double the treat, I suppose. Now, I did do an interesting thing where I weighed these guitars, because I'm trying to develop, statistical data on different woods and shapes and weights, versus the necks, and how that balances and things like that. And over time, that data begins to kind of produce trends. So just going through the different ones. On the alder body that we worked on last episode, this guy, with all the cutouts made and ready for finish and no hardware installed, this alder 3-piece body comes in at 4 pounds and 7 ounces. I think that's pretty average at this point in time. This may turn out to be like a 7.5 pound guitar with the neck and the hardware on it. The other one, which is African whitewood, is a little bit lighter of a wood. Pretty much at the same state, ready for finishing, sealing and finishing on this guy. This one weighs in at 3 pounds, 14 ounces, so a little bit under 4 pounds. So definitely lighter. So this will end up probably being, a little over 7 pound guitar, but this one will have a Bigsby, so that may increase it back a little bit to about 7.5 pounds. So we'll see how that works out. The Swamp Ash Strat style body that I'm building in class is a really nice 3-piece Swamp Ash, nice, beautiful grain, but the weight of it is absolutely beautiful. In the same state with all my routes cut out, no hardware, ready for finishing. This one weighs 3 pounds, 8 ounces. This is going to be a sub 7 pound guitar, 7 pound Strat when we're all said and done. I think this is going to really be a very nice weight. Won't be neck heavy, because the neck on this one also is a little bit lighter than the other. This has got the curly maple neck, a little bit lighter than the plain maple on the other couple guitars. So I think this is going to be a perfect fit. So anyway, that's where we're at as far as weights go. So talk about the dyeing process. Gloves, obviously, are pretty nice to have. On this particular one, I'm going to go with darker green, try to tie into the darker shades of green around here is what I'm going to do. The binding on this guitar is kind of a cream/mint binding, so that'll work together too. Nice, it'll be really nice contrast. And I'm going to use the Angelus dye that Big D uses all the time. I've used it on several guitars over the past year, and every one I've really liked the results. So that's what I'm going to use now. So I am going to use just a thinned out version of the green. So I'm going to use about 30 milliliters of green dye and about 30 millimeters of alcohol just to thin it down a little bit. I'm probably going to want this to be a little bit darker, but I don't have to get the full darkness in the dye. I can use tinted clear coats as my first few base coats in order to achieve the exact density of color that I want. I did mask off the binding here just to try to minimize the amount that I need to scrape off later. Just try to keep going over, let it absorb as evenly as possible. Each time I go over it, it'll darken up a little bit. The end grain will get a little bit darker also. That's kind of a cool look though. This will lighten up some as it dries. So at this point we're going to let it dry and then we're going to do some more if needed. All right, now let's do the Strat. The Strat, I'm looking for more of a lime green, not definitely a hunter forest green, but just something a little bit brighter, almost neon-like. I did some tests, and I'm looking for somewhere in between these two. So my formula was basically 3-to-1 on the dye. So I've got about 30 milliliters of clear in there because I want to dilute it for the same reasons as I just mentioned. And I'm going to go 30 milliliters on the dye followed by 10 milliliters of turquoise. So yellow and turquoise, 3-to-1 is my ratio. All right, now let's start working our lime green. All right, let's let these two dry for a little bit and come back and look at them. All right, here's what we got. We've got the back done on the Telecaster, the lizard eye Telecaster. This ended up being more of an emerald green, which I really like. I've already masked off this other side because what I'm going to do is make this emerald green just a little bit deeper and darker by doing some tone coats over top of this with some tinted finish material. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use mostly the same green, maybe put a touch of black in there too, just to make it a little bit darker emerald, and I think that will look super cool. And on the Strat, we've got the color coat. Now I sanded this back and then I re-dyed it. I don't know, I think it's not as much of a lime, maybe more of a green apple, but I think it looks pretty good. what I'm going to do on here is kind of just a wash coat, just a thin coat of finish that doesn't fill in all of the swamp ash pores, and then I'm going to come back after that and use an oil-based filler to fill in all of the grain. So this is going to be a multi-stage process to bring out the grain the way that I want to. So a few steps here, but the same thing. I masked off the neck pockets. I basically hooked in my my guitar hanging device, which is just PVC pipe. And now I'm ready to go and shoot some finish on both these guitars, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like after a few coats of finish. We've got the Tele, the lizard eye Tele, and we went darker on the back than the original dye. And I did that by using the same dye in with some sealer with a little bit of black, and it really darkened it up nice. In fact, I went a little heavier on the sides of the guitar to almost make it black, but I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but according to the naked eye, it is definitely a really deep, dark emerald green, and I think that is going to look fantastic, kind of tying in the very dark green around the perimeter of the lizard eye. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. It really makes the ivory cellulose binding pop, which is very nice too. Next step on this would be pore filling, with the exception that I'm going to use the polyester resin, the Simtech, to kind of begin covering up all of the fabric and building that base so I can sand back perfectly flat and flush. So therefore, I'll just go ahead and shoot the back with the same stuff, and that will accomplish all the pore filling for us. So I'll do that on this guitar. On the Strat that I'm doing in the school project is right here, and I don't know, it's, like I said before, more of a candy apple green, I think. But at this stage, I went light enough where you can see kind of the brown grain through it. You won't be able to see it, but I'm trying to tie together the dot markers here. There's bright green and blue in there, and I'm trying to tie in that bright green to the body itself, and I think that will definitely look sharp. With the magic of the YouTube video, we just fast forwarded about 3 days, and we've got all of the final top coats on these two Telecaster guitars that I'm building for this video series. Only thing left to do with the bodies are to do the final sanding and buffing process. And I'm telling you, there's not going to be a whole lot to sand. These tops aren't perfectly flat, but they are very flat. So I think it's going to be a pretty quick process, 600 to 800, maybe to 1,000 grit, and then off to the buffer. I want to bring you in close because these two Telecasters, fabric top that Matt of Texas Toast helped me with, are both incredible. The reptile eye, gold hardware. All this is dry fit, okay, so nothing is permanent at this point in time. The binding looks black, but that is a deep emerald green, as you just saw a couple minutes ago. Looking beautiful. That neck is fitting nice. There's a lot of reds and greens in those stones that are going to tie together very nicely. The bronze frets will tie with all the gold hardware nicely. The space guitar with the Texas Toast bridge. Switch configuration yet to be determined, but something special for sure with the Charlie Christian pickups. A lot of purples and blues.
There's a violet blue metallic that I painted the back with that I decided to also burst the top with, that you can just barely see if I get the right angle, and some of that metallic kind of spread throughout the rest of the other body areas, and that really looks pretty cool. Perloid all around. The synthetic stones are mostly blue, but they've got shades of purple in it that tie to this body. And we've got stainless steel frets installed. Again, final sanding and buffing is all that's left to do on these bodies. And they're looking fantastic. So I held off publishing this video because I wanted to give you a chance to see, after we went through the entire dyeing process, specifically with this one on camera, and the Stratocaster, which is almost to this stage but still needs some top coat. But I wanted to save the end of this video just to kind of show you where we're at. These are beautiful. These are absolutely stunning, and if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited about them. They're just, everything, all the little details came together nicely, just better than I had imagined they would. So it's a good day. So we'll officially close out this video now. And like always, remember, no matter what you do, start with excellence.